last week we received the mark sheet or the grade sheet of my 3-year-old son Gappa. We should have been very excited. We should have been very happy, given that the marks were or the grades were great. But my wife and I were not very excited. We didn't show a lot of happiness. We stayed very calm, very stoic. And I'll tell you the reason behind it. The reason behind it is a pact made between my wife and I, a pact in which we have made peace with something about Gappa, a pact which is actually a gift to Gappa as he moves on from his play school to nursery. So we were at the school. It was the parents teachers meet, and the teacher gave us his grade sheet, uh, and excellent grades. 20, out of 22 parameters on which he was marked, he got A plus in 21 of them, and only in one of them he got A. Uh, See, we are adults. We understand the basis on which teachers mark the children at his age. Why they feel the need to give him all good grades. He should feel happy. He should feel encouraged. We as parents should feel encouraged. So we understand that. Okay, we understand the reality. Uh, so we should have shown excitement, but we did not show. Uh, at the same time, in front of Gappa, we showed excitement. Wow, Gappu, kya baat hai? Wonderful marks, wonderful performance. Not that he understood any of it, but that was our reaction to Gappa. Mm, and I'll tell you the reason why. Okay, just 2 days before that, my wife and I, we were traveling by car. And while talking about Gappa, we talked a lot of things, just general observations, his traits, his nature, and all that. And in that conversation, I mentioned to her an observation that I've had of Gappa over the last few months. So my observation is that Gappa is a very different child when he's at school and a very different child when he's at home. Okay? At school, he's very, very structured, very well mannered. He's very ordinary. Okay, so I'll give you some examples. So, for example, if there is a rhyme recitation competition, he'll be like any other child. Okay, very ordinary, very average. Nothing that can show that he has a spark of brilliance and all that. Which most parents they expect in their children. So he's like that. Or if there is a game, a competition of that hoop hula, or that that ring around which children have to do some activities, every other child will be doing it the way the teacher asked them to do it. Okay, this fellow will be doing something of his own, something very different. Okay, uh, uh, at the outset, it can look actually that he's doing it wrongly. So that's how he's at school, very, very, very straightforward. Okay, at home he's very different. Okay, he's very active. He talks a lot. He shows a lot of memory, shows a lot of understanding. He's very, very curious. Okay, and all this is not to boast. I'm just telling you the difference. Okay, what he's at home, what he's at school. And I think the reason behind that is, we give him a very free hand at home. We make him feel very safe. So for that, my wife and I will pat our backs. So he feels very safe at home, and he's himself. Yeah. At school, he's more systemic. Okay, he's in the line like every other child. Okay, which is also good. But I think my wife and I, we give him an environment where he's himself. So while mentioning all this to my wife, I actually made a pact with her. Okay, I tried to explain to her, or in fact, we both, acknowledged it among ourselves that in the first few years, at least in the early years, Gappa is not going to score great marks. So many of us Indian parents, at least we have these expectations that our child will perform superbly in school, and then will show spark of brilliance, will come across as very talented, very gifted, among the toppers. I was myself a topper in my early years, so I know the kind of expectations that parents have. Okay, so my wife and I, we have decided we are not going to have this expectation at all. In fact, we are going to kind of accept that he's not going to be a very high performing child. Okay, at least not in terms of academics. He's going to be high performing in terms of sports, in playing, in having fun, in making friends. Just like the school in their notes, feedback notes, they mentioned that. Gappa is a very cooperative child, a very happy child. He makes friends easily and is very social. These are kind of the exact words that they mentioned. So this is all what Gappa is going to be. He's not going to be a high performer in terms of marks, in terms of academics, at least not in the first few years. And this is, I believe, is such a lovely gift you are giving to him. No pressure on him. No pressure at all. Okay, no pressure to be a gifted child, a talented child, because the crown weighs heavy. Okay, the crown of being talented, being gifted is very very heavy, which forces children to try to live up to that expectation. And as years go by, when the expectations start to fade away, when the talent or that giftedness begins to fade away, the child comes under a lot of pressure, leaves a very bad impact on children. At the same time, if he performs well, very nice, okay, but we are not going to be very excited by that. And at the same time, what this is going to do is, Gappa doesn't have to prove to any friends, any relatives, at least in our circle. I don't know about his friend circle, that he's a topper, that he's talented, and all that. And from our end also, we don't have to prove it to anybody. Friends, relatives, doesn't matter. They ask what kind of a child he is, how is he doing. He's doing very pretty average, very nice. Okay, we have no issues with that. No pressure at all. And I think children with no pressure, okay, no pressure of academic excellence and scoring marks, they are more likely to be free. ठीक है, follow their own path, find their own interests, of course with our help, their skills, their talents, if you may call that. So that way Gappa is going to be very safe, or that's what we expect. Okay, let's see how it goes. It's easier said than done. It's much easier said than done. Hi Gappu, you're here. So it's easier said than done. When the time really comes, how we will perform, whether we will also give in to those those desire for excellence in childhood, बच्चे का जो excellence होता है, we don't know that. But if we can manage to keep our head still, and do like I talk now, I think that will be the best gift we would have given to Gappa. Okay, now Gappa is here to trouble me. He wants to eat something, so let me focus on him. Take care. Bye bye.